Why are 80% of engineering organizations abandoning traditional DevOps for platform engineering? What's driving this massive shift that started at Spotify and is now reshaping how we build software? And more importantly, should your team make this transition? The story begins at Spotify around 2018. As they grew from a startup to thousands of engineers, they faced a critical problem. Their infrastructure was becoming fragmented and developers were drowning. Instead of building features, engineers spent hours asking, where's the API for that service? What framework version is everyone using? Who owns this broken service? Context switching and cognitive overload were killing productivity. Spotify's solution was revolutionary. Create an abstraction layer that sits on top of all infrastructure tooling. They called it Backstage, a developer portal powered by a centralized software catalog, one place for everything, accessible to everyone. Here's a fun fact. Spotify open sourced Backstage in 2020, and it's now a CNCF incubating project with over 100 adopters, including Netflix, American Airlines, and IKEA. But Backstage was just the beginning of something much bigger. So, what exactly is platform engineering? Think of it as building an internal developer platform, or IDP. Unlike traditional DevOps, where developers manage infrastructure directly, platform engineering creates self-service abstractions. The first layer is the developer portal, your single pane of glass. This is where developers discover services, access documentation, and trigger common workflows. Next comes the service catalog, the registry of everything. Every API, service, database, and dependency is cataloged with ownership, health status, and relationships clearly mapped. The magic happens in the infrastructure automation layer. Using tools like Terraform, Crossplane, and Kubernetes operators, the platform handles provisioning, configuration, and lifecycle management automatically. Let's dive deeper into developer portals. Whether you choose Backstage, Port, or build your own, the goal is the same. Eliminate the hunting. Developers shouldn't spend 30 minutes figuring out how to deploy a service. Backstage leads the pack with its plugin ecosystem. You can integrate with GitHub, Kubernetes, monitoring tools, and virtually any API. It's like having a personalized workspace for your entire development environment. Port takes a different approach with its focus on self-service catalogs and policy enforcement, while Humanitech provides a more opinionated commercial solution with built-in orchestration capabilities. The key insight is that these aren't just pretty UIs. They're opinionated workflows that encode your organization's best practices. When developers need to spin up a new service, the portal guides them down the golden path. Now, let's look at infrastructure automation, the engine that makes self-service possible. This is where tools like Crossplane and Terraform become platform components rather than developer tools. Crossplane, for example, lets you define infrastructure as Kubernetes custom resources. A developer requests a database through the portal, Crossplane provisions it on AWS, and the connection details are automatically injected into their application. The beauty is abstraction without lock-in. Developers work with simple, standardized interfaces while the platform team can swap implementations underneath. Change from AWS to Azure, the developer experience stays the same. But platform engineering isn't a silver bullet. The biggest trade-off is complexity. You're essentially building a platform that other teams depend on. This requires dedicated engineers, ongoing maintenance, and careful change management. Platform engineering shines with large teams and complex systems, but it can be overkill for smaller organizations. If you have fewer than 20 developers or simple monolithic applications, the overhead might exceed the benefits. Sometimes direct infrastructure access is more efficient than abstraction. Platform engineering represents a fundamental shift from everyone does everything to platforms enable everyone. The question question isn't whether this trend will continue. Gartner predicts 80% adoption by 2026. The question is, when will your organization make the leap? Let me know in the comments. Are you already using platform engineering, or are you still evaluating? What's holding you back?